What if you were actually attacked by a dinosaur? It's the question on everybody's minds these days at the time of recording in late May 2025. Another one of those Jurassic Park, World, Dominion, whatever reboot movies is coming out, and once more excitement is afoot about all those scenes of giant dinosaurs or mutants, I don't even know what they are these days, eating and devouring people. And one could argue that in popular culture, the term dinosaur itself has become synonymous with one of those gigantic theropods rushing down on people and swallowing them whole. But what would it really be like to be attacked by a dinosaur? Today we're gonna be talking all about that, everyone. But before beginning, did you know that there's a great universe of my dinosaur art, creature art, and other commissioned works that nobody else gets to see unless you subscribe to me on Patreon for as little as $1 per month? Yes, everybody, a whole universe of my works that nobody else gets to see anywhere else. You get to interact with me more directly, you get to ask me questions which I later answer in YouTube videos, and you can also even download the slide pack for this very podcast. Anyways, with that out of the way, let's start tackling the matter on hand. So, the gigantic dinosaurs that Hollywood likes to showcase in its films are actually quite large to consider human beings effective prey. I mean, if you look at something like T-Rex, that thing was specialized to hunt ceratopsians or giant duck-billed dinosaurs that weighed probably more than 2 elephants. It needed to eat those big things in order to sustain itself. It's the same story with the other popular giant mega theropod, Giganotosaurus, or I think kids call it Giga these days. Giga's gonna come fuck you up. Well, Giga was actually a specialist predator on very large sauropod dinosaurs like the Limaisaurus pictured here, or even possibly Argentinosaurus, which I don't have time to bother digging up a picture of. But yeah, I mean, Giganotosaurus was a specialist slash and bite hunter specializing on these giant sauropods. In fact, there's even a suggestion that they did not necessarily kill their prey if it came to those mountain-sized sauropods like Argentinosaurus, but rather run up to them and, like a little goddamn cat which leaps onto your leg as you're going to the toilet at 3 a.m., bit of chunks of flesh, and in that manner fed sustainably on these giants. Of course, that's a very fringe hypothesis, and giant theropods certainly did tackle smaller prey from time to time, but the gist of the matter is the mega theropods, the kaiju-sized giants, were probably too big to care about you. I mean, if by some magic you were transported into their time, they would not necessarily chase you or hunt you, but would just look in your general direction, kind of size you up, and skinny son of a bitch, let you go. Oh boy, but there are a lot of mid-sized theropod dinosaurs that would care about you. You know, as the general study of dinosaurs devolves into this game of Pokemon-like superlatives, as if it's a fucking fight game, the biggest, the largest, the heaviest. Oh, is it T-Rex, Giga, or Spino? Huh? Which one? As paleontology gets reduced to this, it's very easy to overlook these so-called mid-sized theropods, which are extremely diverse and extremely interesting. During the 1990s, when I was in my dinosaur child phase, which I think never grew out of, it was these dinosaurs that interested me more than T-Rex or what we then knew of Spinosaurus or the other giants. These little-known mid-sized theropods with vexing strange names like, I don't know, Chilantaesaurus, Gasosaurus, Metriacanthosaurus, and they were always portrayed in this really slick, if slightly now outdated way by the great paleo artists of that time, and it was wonderful. These medium-sized theropods also contain the key to figuring out the exact classification and the evolution of theropods themselves, because until 35 years ago, all meat-eating dinosaurs were lumped into either coelurosaurs, which were the small ones, or the carnosaurs, which were the big ones. Now, we actually know that there were distinct lineages of theropods within the era of the dinosaurs itself, and they started out as small forms, but as millions of years passed, they evolved into giant forms repeatedly, but unrelatedly. To give one example, the famous T-Rex Tyrannosaurus descended from more lightly built, almost bird-like dinosaurs, which run under the feet of previous giants like the allosaurs. So in studying these medium-sized obscure theropods, we also got to learn a lot about dinosaur evolution itself. But anyways, I know we've spoken too much about the scientific side of things, and most of you are here just to hear your favorite Turkish eccentric ramble on about bloody, realistic attacks by little-known mid-sized dinosaurs. So yes, now you have reached the money shot. Here, I have a list of such strange, little-known, medium-sized theropod dinosaurs, between 2 to 6 meters long. These are just names arranged alphabetically. They are not in any sort of cladistic order. And as you can see, this reads like a list of arcane medieval demons. I mean, just look at them and feel the way these names roll off the tongue. Moros, Chuan Dong Coelurus, Yang Chuanosaurus, Suskityrannus, Lilien Sternus, Dilong, Geniodectes, Eotyrannus, Aerosteon, etc., etc. You know, one thing with names, I don't know if you get this too, but when I read a strange name, I can sort of visualize the broad outlines of the creature it refers to, even if I don't know anything about it. It's a bit like a scientifically informed sort of synesthesia. For example, the name Zhuanhanosaurus is something gray but lean, and it's a cold bluish sort of gray. The name Magnosaurus recalls something with a tall snout. The name Lourinhanosaurus evokes something with a mottled pattern, probably because of the way the cadence goes up and down as you pronounce it. The name Yangchuanosaurus reminds me of something big and yellowish green. I don't know why, probably because of the letter Y in it, and so on and so forth. All of this is deeply unscientific, of course, but it's an interesting phenomenon nevertheless. If you have this sort of autistic dinosaur synesthesia, please comment and let everybody know what images, which names invoke in you. And we can also get some traction out of the algorithm that way. Anyways, the game we are going to play with this list of names is as follows. You're not going to be able to see it, of course, but I actually printed out this list onto a sheet of paper and from a certain height spat on it. And whichever name my spit landed on, I am going to reconstruct, and I am going to try to imagine what it would be like to be attacked by that particular genus of predatory dinosaurs. So, are you ready? Let's go! 3, 2, 1. Oh my god, we got a name! It's Piatsnitskisaurus, one of the most tongue-twistiest of all the names in this list. Piatsnitskisaurus, everyone. Okay, so let's get the lowdown on this very interesting, actually quite small-sized predatory dinosaur. Here is a very beautiful and intricate skeletal diagram of Piatsnitskisaurus prepared by the artist known as Paleocolour. And here's a really beautiful black and white restoration by the DeviantArt user Cheung Chung Tat. The links of both of these artists are in the video description, by the way. So Piatsnitskisaurus was a relative of the quote-unquote megalosaur group, a less derived early group of meat-eating dinosaurs, slightly related to Allosaurus, and also things like Torvosaurus, and even to the lineage which ultimately led to Spinosaurus. Of course, all of these relations are postulated in the year 2025, so if you somehow listen to this video a decade later and everything has been rearranged, don't be surprised, because unlike living organisms, for fossil creatures, we only have bones, their measurements, and some weird programs that correlate data. As a result, these classificationary schemes are always in a state of flux. As new species get discovered, our understanding of the dinosaur family tree shifts, and the arrangement of the dinosaur family tree is still due for some major revisions. But anyways, back to Piatsnitskisaurus. So, to properly understand an animal, you really have to understand the environment it lived in. That's a thing we really overlook with dinosaurs. They are usually imagined as disconnected creatures floating in the void, but if you look at the present day, can you really imagine a lion without the savanna, a gorilla without the mountain jungle, or a mountain leopard without the mountain? Of course you can't. And that's the thing with Piatsnitskisaurus as well. So let's look into its world. It comes from the Canadon Asfalto Formation in what is present-day Argentina and lived in the early Jurassic period. Now, a lot of people, especially novice paleo enthusiasts, really gloss over these time periods fast. But to put into perspective, the early Jurassic is further away from T-Rex than T-Rex is to us, around 200 million years ago. Now, just think about those numbers and try to get some perspective. I mean, it's just mind-boggling, the vast depths of time. So, between 200 to around 175 million years ago, the Canadon Asfalto Formation was a big freshwater lake surrounded by green plains. Something like this photo I clipped from a tourism site to New Caledonia, which is used as a stand-in for a lot of Mesozoic landscapes. This is, I think, as close to we can come to a photograph of that time, but don't take it as an authoritative image. Anyways, always know that the smallest unit of an ecosystem is not a creature, but an ecosystem itself. So, Piatsnitskisaurus shared this environment with a lot of other animals, including the big sauropod dinosaurs, Patagosaurus and Volkaimeria, the small ornithischian dinosaur Manidans, and also predatory dinosaurs such as Eoabelisaurus, something which could also have made the list of medium-sized theropods we chose from. This was an ancestor to the line which led to the famous Carnotaurus, and also there was something called Asphaltovenator, which may have been the same thing as Piatsnitskisaurus, but only larger. In fact, if you look back at our name list, you will see the name of Asphaltovenator there. So yeah, this was the environment that Piatsnitskisaurus inhabited. Okay, we've almost arrived at the juicy bit where I describe the attack by Piatsnitskisaurus, but before that, let's just take another look at this animal, how big it was and how it was built. As you can see here, it was one of the smallest predatory dinosaurs of its group, and because of that, it's often overlooked, but that's one of the points I'm trying to drive home with this video actually. Things like this, if alive today, would have been scarier than the big T-Rex class predators, because those would not be interested in you. Something like this though would actively chase people down, and if it did, it would be a really dangerous predator to deal with. You can see from the skeleton here, it's maybe the size of a horse, but even in the present day, a horse can be quite dangerous if it accidentally bit you or if it trampled you, and that's just a herbivore. Remember, this is a predator. Another thing I want to draw attention in this dinosaur is how longly built it was. You see, behind that grabbing head, there's a longish, horizontally slung body and a tail almost as long as the body itself. In terms of biomechanics, that's a great big leverage point. All those muscles in the body and the tail are going to be a lever against which it would pivot its head, probably with one of your arms in the mouth. So think about it in those terms, and quickly you will get to a very scary and very gory picture of how this animal hunts. So now, here we are. We have traveled back through time to the early Jurassic and just walk around the place for a while. Listen to the sounds. It's an alien world on the same planet. Just drink it in. In the distance, there are some sounds of weird and big animals. They sound both scary and dumb at the same time. It's a lush, foresty place around the lake, and you're just there in the early Jurassic of Argentina. Yes. How's that feel? There are no flowers, but there are some brightly colored plants that look like a mix of spurges and horsetails on the ground, and oh, what's that? Some other weird animals you just can't see, but they're out there in the trees, alarmed by your presence. Don't worry, just step in. Take a few steps into the lakeside gallery forest. That's right, like baby steps. 1, 2. Under your feet, the leaf litter crunches, but if you just bend over and look at it, put your fingers through the mulch, it's a different kind of mulch. The very little bits, the dirt, the little plant pieces, the little snail shells or whatever, they're all slightly different because you are in another time. As you get up from the mulch, you look around the forest and its sheer alien beauty overwhelms you. There are just so many details to take in. What are those things on the tree boughs that are quickly moving about? What is that little light green plant that grows at the base of a tree? What are those fern-like things? What was just thing which flew by? Oh my god, what's that thing looking at you among... Oh my god, it's our good friend Piatnitskysaurus. But that just lasts like a quarter second. You just see its long face among the bush, looking at you, and then suddenly it starts. Now these are all taking place in condensed time, In a matter of milliseconds, it starts on you. But it's not exactly like a bird's run, but it starts from a dead run. And it just plods up to you. It just takes very fast steps. And then, boom, it reaches you. You don't even have time to react. What's that? Suddenly, you start to turn to avoid it, but it just turns its head sideways, grabs your tail, and then you're dragged along. You don't even have time to register the pain because of the shock of the adrenaline is flooding your system. You don't even realize you've been attacked. And it drags you for 2 more steps. You just say, something, or you don't even scream. And then it just crunches harder on your upper arm bone, sound coming from your bones, and then it just goes left, right with its mouth. And the next thing you can remember, you are on the ground, you look up, and this thing is looking at you with its sideways located eye. Hanging from its mouth is your arm and a great big portion of your scapula and your back muscles. The pain doesn't register yet, and thankfully there's like black blood everywhere, you're having difficulty breathing, and you pass out in shock, and thankfully you bleed out without the pain beginning to register. And that was that. That was the attack by Piatnitskisaurus. No sounds, no Hollywood chases, no fucking Jurassic Park roars. It just did what it evolved to do for 1,000,000 years, and it just had a lucky big windfall of a snack from beyond deep time. That was that. There are no special effects, there are no roars. But eventually, after it eats all that it can of you, the animal is satisfied, and it lets out a bizarre, almost demonic roar. Just listen. It's not charismatic, but it's just the sound an animal makes when it's happy, and maybe it's advertising to any potential mates out there that, yeah, this is my territory, I ate, and I'm ready to roll. That was that, everybody. The grisly attack by Piatnitskisaurus. If you listen to this video so far, I hope by now you understand that this video was less about a dramatic and eye-catching dinosaur attack scene, although I think I did a good job at portraying and storytelling it, and more about appreciating prehistoric life in further depth. I wanted you to think of dinosaurs less as Pokemon-type monsters and more as living animals with habitats of their own, evolutionary relationships of their own, and ecological niches of their own. There really is so much more to the study of dinosaurs than just which one was the biggest, which one was the meanest, and which one could eat which. These were real animals, and even the most mundane and overlooked species of dinosaurs have incredible stories to tell if you just study them the right way. That was that, everyone. I hope you enjoyed being attacked by a dinosaur. As always, I love you all. Well, hello there from the secret CM Kozeman Paleontology, Science Fiction, Art and History Library and Studio. All this shit you see here is partially possible thanks to your support. All these names going up from this side, all these people are donors of me on patreon.com. And I think it's bloody incredible that you are supporting me so much. And if you like this video and if you want to support my further endeavors, so I can do more research here, with all these natural history books and stuff. I mean, just look at all that shit. If you want me to devote more time to videos like this, I would be really happy if you could support me on Patreon. The links are in the video description and on the pinned comment right there. And you won't be just giving away your money. You will actually be getting a lot of extra stuff, Just on my Patreon, I share all of my new creature art, new dinosaur art, new surreal paintings. Just wait. Just look at some of the surreal paintings I've been creating in the past month alone, It's bloody incredible, and you will get to see scans of all these works and everything else on Patreon. Once again, these are trying times, and I am really thankful to all of you for supporting me. Well, that's enough filibustering. I hope you got the message. I hope you will put your money where your hearts are. And I'm just gonna stay silent and just look at the text for a little bit more, see all the names of our donors, and I'll call it a night. Goodbye.